Hello YouTube, this is Keith Kevin Ken. How you doing? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. It is time for the knife of the day, and yes, we completed the Spectacle collection finally after 231 videos as we go through my knife collection one knife at a time, one day at a time. I've been expecting some new Spectacles any day now, hopefully later today when I come home from work. And then, so what this will be is the rest of my collection and the newer knives from Spectacle as they come out. So now we're moving on to the Keith Kevin King collection of knives. I'm going to do it a little bit different. I had so many Spectacles that I wanted to just finish the Spectacle collection. Now I think what I'll do is we're going to do the Chris Reeve collection of knives. I want to say there's 58 of them. We'll do the Browse Blade collection of knives. I think there's like 25 of them. And we'll do the Microtech out the front automatics. And we'll mix and match. So there's going to be a lot of variety as we go forward for the rest of the year. And then we'll move on to Striders and customs and case knives will probably be at the end. Okay? I hope that works for everyone. So, starting out with the Chris Reeve collection, this is by far the oldest knife that I have. This is the knife of the day, is the Chris Reeve Classic Sebenza with BG42 steel. VG42 steel. Now, after we're done with this, I believe it or not, I'm a relatively new knife collector. I just went insane over knives. And so I've been collecting maybe 3 years now, close to 3 years. Most of the Chris Reeve collection that you'll see will be the modern Chris Reeve Sebenza 21, Sebenza 25s, and small Nkosi's, Menundis, etc. So all of them will have, let me see. Yes, all of them will either have Damascus blades or CPM S35 VN steel, because that's how Chris Reeve knives rocks now. But it wasn't always that way. I wanted to get a BG42 steel knife because on every forum, every place, everyone talked about how great BG42 was. Chris Reeve had his knives in BG42 steel until he started working with Crucible to develop S30V steel. And then, of course, then they upgraded to S35 VN steel. So I got this on a secondary market. Wonderful salesperson. It has BG42 steel. It is by far my oldest knife because this is, let's see if we can put it there, a classic Sebenza. So this gives me an opportunity to talk a little bit about the Sebenza line, because you're going to see a lot of Sebenzas on this channel as we go through the knife of the day. First, there was the Sebenza, and it was more of kind of like a homemade Sebenza. I don't have one. By the way, Sebenza is Zulu for work. Chris Reeve is from South Africa. Zulu is the South African native language. And so he names his knives after Zulu words. So work, and boy, indeed, this is a work knife. The second knife, and that was in 1987. In 1990, they released the original Sebenza. And then in 2000, the third improvement was this, the classic Sebenza. And that went from 2000 to 2008. And then 2008, it was the 21st anniversary. And that's when they introduced, guess what? The Sebenza 21. And that's what you'll see a lot of Sebenza 21. On the 25th anniversary, they released the Sebenza 25. And so you'll see those mostly in this collection. This is the only older knife, and I love it. What this does, let's talk about it, because you'll see everything about a Sebenza in this knife. First of all, it's an older knife. It's the wear and tear is beautiful. It's smooth, just like it's a newer knife. The lockup is like it's a newer knife. So first we have BG42 steel. That BG42 steel, and you guys know there are steel experts. So if you guys want to comment and add more about BG42 steel, please do. It was a steel used for ball bearings in aircrafts, in aeronautics. Very strong and tough. Didn't chip as much. Retained an edge for a very long time. A little harder to sharpen because it was so tough. Chris Reeve did a great treatment on it, and people love this Chris Reeve steel. The blade size is 3.6 inches. I'll tell you, you guys know if you've been following me, I love smaller knives, and we'll get to the small Sebenzas and the small Inkosis and the Menundis as we go through this collection. But man, it just doesn't feel like a 3.6 inch knife. It is a wonderful knife. You have heard a lot about Sebenzas if you've never held one, and the quality of Sebenza, and I have to say it lives up to everything. It's just so nice. 3.6 inch knife. Most of it is all edge. 8.3 inches total. This is on the Sebenza, the large Sebenza. There was only the Sebenza classic, the classic Sebenza. 4.7 ounces, and I'm telling you, it's very balanced. If you haven't held a Sebenza, I know everyone can't buy Sebenzas, and I get that, but again, it is one of those very well-known classic knives, and if you ever get a chance to hold one at a shop or something, you should. It's just so well done. It is a clip point shape on the blade, and you'll see a lot of clip points. We'll show you a lot of different blades as well. Stone washed. It really hides snails. I have a scratch on this one when I bought it, but I really wanted this classic knife. You'll be seeing all the other knives are new to me in the collection, but this one I just wanted to have it in the collection. It is a clip point knife, hollow ground, has jimping right here, good jimping. It is a titanium scales. As we go through the collection, you'll see a lot of different kind of scales and knife shapes. Chris Reeve is very well known, and should be, for his creation of the Chris Reeve integral frame lock. A lot of times in the Spyderco collection, I talked about that because they always make sure to give Chris Reeve credit for the integral frame lock. Of course, that comes right off of the frame to lock and engage the blade. He has thumb studs. It was funny, I started with Sebenzas. So when I mean, not Sebenza, I started with Spyderco, so I was so used to, I know it's weird, but, I got into knives through Spyderco. So when I got the studs, I'm like, okay. But it's so easy. The way that he builds in for you to get to that stud, it's really easy to do. Chris Reeve does not do multiple placements of the clip. This is his clip. I mean, what he did very well, and it must help him in manufacturing and why he has such tight tolerances and all of that, is the clip is the clip. You'll see different clips when we get to different models, but he doesn't change out the clip on every Sebenza. And he sells right-handed knives for the most part. If you want a left-handed knife with a left-hand clip, you have to buy a Chris Reeve left-handed Sebenza, or a left-handed Nkosi, or a left-handed Sebenza 25. You have to do that. You can't just move the clip. So you'll see on YouTube, a lot of times you'll see lefties, but when they show you their Sebenzas, they're still the right-hand Sebenzas. You can find them. They're just more, there are less of them, so it's a little bit more difficult to find. Every Sebenza coming out of the box has a lanyard. So you'll see all the lanyards on my Sebenzas. I'm not a huge lanyard guy, but I keep them except for 4 exceptions. And when we get to those knives, I'll explain why. But I love that. He also gives you a tool for tightening and loosening the pivot, because the tolerances in how he makes the knives, he knows you can't screw it up. So he gives you the screw driving, and he gives you some oil as well. And then he gives you, let me see if I can reach one. Here's one of the newer, cleaner ones. And he gives you a nice Chris Reeve cloth. I have a million of them, and I always use them. And he gives you, let me reach to grab it. I should have been more prepared. This isn't the one that came with it. And he gives you a leather case for each and every knife. That's included in the sales. So you always hear people say, oh, it's so expensive. Wonderful leather. I've got a bunch of them. The tool to tighten or loosen. A cloth, high quality cloth. And oil. And he gives you a birth card, a birth certificate. The date it was made, what's the heat treatment, the materials, and it's always signed. I just think they do it right. And so I fell in love with the Sebenza. This was not my first Sebenza. We'll go through that. This is plain Jane. When you hear about plain Jane Sebenzas, what that means. I know some of you guys are pros, but I also know that I have a lot of people who don't know that much about Sebenza. Since this is the first one, I won't repeat this as we go through all of them, but I want you guys to get a handle on it. I'll say a lot plain Jane Sebenzas. I like plain Jane Sebenzas, and that means the scales are just gray titanium. This is a plain Jane Sebenza with the titanium scales and the blade without Damascus and all the fancy stuff, which you'll see as we go through the knife of the day. Folks, we've started something new here on the knife of the day after 231 different videos going through the Spydercos. We're now starting with the Chris Reeve collection, the Browse Blade collection, and the Microtech Out the Front collection. The knife of the day is the classic Sebenza from Chris Reeve with the BG42 steel. I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you enjoy as we take the next step in going through my collection here on the Keith Kevin Kin channel. We're going to do one knife at a time, one day at a time, Monday through Friday as I record it. If you enjoy this, thumb it up. Don't forget to subscribe. That helps. Also, don't forget to turn on your notifications, because if I do get those new knives tonight and work doesn't destroy me, I might put up the videos tonight instead of tomorrow morning. So make sure you don't miss any of the videos. Hey, you guys, I really appreciate you. I'm so excited to move on into more of the collection. I hope you are too. Take good care of yourselves. Keep those pockets full. Goodbye.